Yo guys, what's going on? Robert Warshack here. We have post-nerf meta. Kaz got hit, some Druid stuff got hit, the Pirate and the Pirate Quest got hit. So definitely not seeing as much as the Pirate Warrior anymore because of the increase in the Pirates it costs. Also, a lot less Druid on ladder. Still see Druid. A lot of people are testing out some new stuff with like Celestial alignment or just adding in amalgams and whatnot to basically the same Druid list we've seen just to activate Kaz. But we do see a lot less of it, and a lot of the other decks that were basically just good prior to the nerf, we're seeing more and more play. So we'll cover what I think of the best decks so far post nerf meta. So we have the Pirate Rogue here, basically the same list, a little bit more refined than what we've seen previously. A lot of people aren't running the scabs anymore, which was like kind of like the late game stuff with this deck, but we do see the cool combo of the Puffer Fist. Even though he got nerfed, he's still really good with the Plague Scientist with the weapon, and it basically, that's a great full board clear there because he gives it, you know, poisonous, and then it hits everything for one. So that's still a fantastic combo here. Of course, the Vessel also carries this deck in the mid to early game because you can prep it out, coin it out, get a lot of value that way, and they're also stealth. Also, of course, you run your Mr. Smites and your Shadow Steps, and it just overall, it's a pretty aggressive rogue deck. There's a lot of variations you could do it to this deck. Like this one has the Shroud of Concealment for a little extra draw and to give your minions stealth, like the Cutlass Courier and things of that nature. So if you don't like the Shroud, there's a bunch of other builds that run like Scabs and whatnot, but the core of the deck is the Pirates. It's a more aggressive style deck, and it's doing really, really good just because of it has AoE now. It's got a lot of draw, it's got a lot of stealth minions, and it just overall has a lot of burst damage. So Pirate Rogue, very, very good right now. So Holy Paladin, or the Control Paladin, is next. This deck basically has everything it needs to instantly, I don't want to say instantly, but very, 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 very high win rate against more aggressive style decks. Between the Sushi Roll and the Wild Pyromancer, which clears the board, the Equality, City Tax, Blade Master, just massive amounts of healing, tons of taunt minion, good draw on the deck with stuff like Flash of Light and things of that nature. It's got a good amount of Discover with the Battle Victor. So this deck does everything it's supposed to do to defeat aggro decks. It's a late game if you know, you're playing against another control deck. You have Mr. Smite in the deck, and then you have a bunch of cards like Righteous Defense, which can buff Mr. Smite, or you just have the Cariel in here, which you basically just keep hero powering. It keeps hitting Smite, and then you play Smite, you dump a bunch of Guardian's Graces on him, and then you kind of hit your opponent for more than 30. That's kind of your win con versus other control decks. Unfortunately, I'm not a fan of this win con. I don't like just winning with this is like how you win against every other deck that isn't aggro. And I just, win conditions kind of boring for me, but Control Paladin, very, very good right now. Basically, the deck is carried by Cariel. Like, this is just like an auto keep always. Like, she's so good. A lot of people are even teching Viper now because of how popular Control Paladin is. And because we're seeing a lot of Control Paladin because of the next deck that we're going to see here, is this is the Naga Demon Hunter that actually popped up not too long ago. A lot of people were saying that this deck, not, you know, Druid or whatnot, needs to be nerfed, or like instead like Pirate Warrior got nerfed. It should have been this deck. And this Naga Demon Hunter list does a ton of damage. It doesn't even depend on really minions for it. It just has the high roll Drekthar. It's got Bone Glaive with Curchuous. It's got a ton of cheap spells and a ton of low cost minions. If you want, you can play the Lady in this deck as well. There's a bunch of different lists, and you know, they're only a couple cards off of one another. So if you like the Lady instead of the Morphin Fin, you can run her. But a lot of the high legend dudes have been playing the Metamorphin, and it seemingly worked out. It's also really good because this weapon here, this weapon's just so good, man. Some of them also run Need for Greed. It's a very, very, very aggressive style deck and closes out most games by like turn 5 or 6. It's just like a better Face Hunter kind of right now, and that's why you're seeing this aggro DH and not Face Hunter, because this is just faster. It has more just stuff that you can do, and the multi-strike is kind of just there's so many just insane cards in this deck, right? Yo, what's going on? Appreciate you making it this far in the video. Glad you like the content. If you do, remember liking and commenting on the videos really help it out, along with subbing to the channel if you do like the content and you want to keep enjoying it, and it allows me to keep making it for you guys because this is my job. So with that, enjoy the rest of the video, and thanks for stopping by. moving down, we have the Quest Hunter. So I was just mentioning Face Hunter right now. Quest Hunter is in a pretty good spot. This is actually our Naga Quest Hunter that we've been brewing. We actually were playing it earlier today. A lot of fun with this deck because we do run like the Naga package with the Terra Coil, which if you cast a spell while holding this, your next spell casts twice. You can combo this with the Queen, or you can pick the weapon on the Queen to deal like extra damage. So you'll have your hero power hitting them for 2. You'll have this weapon that comes off the Queen hitting them for 2 every time you play a spell. And then you also can play, of course, the new Rosjan, which then every spell you play, the mana that it costs hits them as well. So it's like a machine gun hunter, and it just spits out a lot of damage. Earlier today, we were playing against Warriors. He had like 40 armor and 30 health, and we basically chunked through it. Like, it was pretty crazy how much damage this deck has just in it and how much it can do with this little Naga package here. So very fun take on Quest Hunter here. And again, you do see the double Viper. It's good against people who are playing Warlock, like the bomb combo, which, you know, hitting a rod with this is really good. There's a lot of other rogues which are running the Swordfish, which is really good to hit. And then of course the main reasons in here, it's Cariel for the Paladin deck. We're targeting the targets of the meta with this deck here, and it's a really fun and a good hunter deck here. The next deck we have in the final deck before we get to our fringe deck that we're going to talk about, the Druid, right? We have the Control Dragon Warrior. Yes, so there's a lot of people testing with some Control Warrior right now. This is my take on it. We have quite a few dragons in here. Great draw. Very good removal in this deck. We have a Zerdrake. It's great with Rancor. It's good with draw. Kaz, if you played 4 other dragons this game, you create the treasures. So you only have to play, you know, 4 other dragons. So a Zerdrakes and the Nyxian Drake, or you play the Amalgams. So it's quite easy to get Kaz up, and the deck has so much control in it. And it just has a ton of value with like Raid Boss and Nelly. So there's like multiple win conditions in this deck. We've fringed it so we can beat Paladins super easily. We can beat other aggressive decks very easily with Rancor and the massive armor gain. You have like Heavy Plate and Shield Blocks and Shield Shatter. So yeah, this deck's been a lot of fun. Obviously, still room for improvements on here. I'm not quite sold on the Forged in the Flame yet, but it is good with the Outrider's Axe and even Rockthera if it gets there, right? So there are some cards in here. I'm still refining it, but this is what I have so far, and a lot of people have been testing different variations of this Control Warrior, all running like the Dragon package and Kaz and stuff like that. There's also quite a few priests running around as well. So yeah, Control Warrior looking real good right now, real good. And that's because it just does well against the Control Paladin and the Aggro Druid, or the Aggro Demon Hunter. So the other deck is, this deck is being played by like top 100, top 1,000 legend players right now. And that's the Lady Anacondria Celestial Alignment Druid. So basically, the key of this deck here is you have massive ramp. You do the whole Lady Anacondria Celestial Alignment, but we have Escaped Mana Saber. So you have this on the board, you play Celestial, and then you can swing with it. You get to play all of your Sea Giants or all of your Giant Naga cards, and then your opponent has 1 mana to deal with that. But you also can fringe against that, play Blade Master, and then you pick the you know, a spell or something like that with Blade Master, and your opponent only has 1 mana, right? And then the following turn, you just clean them up with all of the 8/8s or the Lockdar Ice Lord or whatnot. So this is like the new sort of like ramp Celestial Druid deck that's been floating around. There's also the other one, which is basically the same Druid, the same ramp Druid we've been seeing with Kaz in it and all that stuff. And all they did was they basically took out Oracle or something like that, and they added in 2 Amalgams instead. So now you just like, you play Raid Boss, you play some Amalgams, and like that's it. Kaz is already online, right? Because if you Amalgam one of the dragons, you're already 2 Amalgams, and Raid Boss is already 3 dragons on the way there. So really good stuff there. Not really though, because I don't like that deck, but they're getting around the whole dragon thing and still playing the same Druid deck. So I like the Celestial one more. It's a little bit more big brain, and it looks a little bit more spicier, right? So with that, those are the best decks I think so far. If there's anything else that's been popping up, getting your eye out there the past 2 days since the post nerf, feel free to leave those in the comment section below. But so far, after the many games that we've played, searching Twitter and all that stuff for all the new brews, this is what we got so far and what I think you guys will do fantastic with. All right, so with that, thank you guys for watching. As always, I'm Robert Warshack, and happy whatever the hell day it is.